Good day, everyone. Today we're tackling a big problem floods and dirty water that make people sick. But we got a solution. Project Safe H2O is all about keeping communities safe from getting sick when the floods happen. Let's dive and learn how Project H2O is making and clean, clean and clear water possible even when the things get tough. So first, let's talk about the background. Next slide po. Background. So, in flood prone communities, especially in developing regions, access to clean and safe water is a persistent challenge during floods. Contaminated water source can lead to outbreak of waterborne diseases, posing significant health risks to the population. Traditional water treatment methods may be inefficient or unavailable, exacerbating the problem. For example, is dito sa Santa Cruz, especially in Pantalan, sa lugar namin, isa ito sa mga flood-prone area na onti umuulan bumabaha na agad. At dahil sa pagbaha, maraming nalalagay sa paganib ang buhay sa paglusong dito nang walang sapat na proteksyon sa paa katulad ng bota. Isa sa maaari nilang makuhang sakit ay leptospirosis at iba pa. Paano kaya kapag nagbagyo na, hindi ba? Kaya mahalagang may sapat tayong kalman para maiwasan ito. And because of Project Safe H2O was initiated to address these pressing issues by implementing innovative solutions to ensure the safety of water source and project vulnerable communities from waterborne diseases in flood-prone areas. So let's talk about the problem. Next slide, please. Flood-prone communities face the constant threat of waterborne diseases due to contaminated water source during flood events. These communities often lack adequate infrastructure and resources to effectively treat water or prevent contamination leading to outbreak of diseases such as cholera, typhoid, and dysentery. Ito yung maaaring sakit na makuha natin sa pagbaba o pagbaha o paglusong sa baha. Additionally, floods can damage existing water treatment facilities, further compromising water safety without timely intervention. This disease can spread rapidly, resulting in significant morbidity and mortality among the population, particularly affecting children and the elderly. And for the solution, Mr. Erenchana will discuss about it.
For the solution, first is what mobile water treatment units. So deploying mobile water treatment units equipped with advanced filtration and purification technologies to, quick, to quickly provide clean and safe drinking water during and after flood events. Second is community education and awareness. Conducting educational campaigns to raise awareness about the waterborne diseases, proper sanitation practices, and importance of clean water consumption, empowering communities to take preventive measures. Third is early early warning system. Implementing early warning system to alert communities about impending flood events, enabling them to take proactive measures to save water sources and minimize contamination risk. Fourth is infrastructure improvement. Investing in infrastructure improvements such as elevated water storage tanks, resilient water supply system, and flood-resistant water treatment plans to mitigate the impact of floods of water quality and availability. Five is community. Based on monitoring, establishing community-based monitoring system to regularly assess water quality, detect contamination, and ensure the effectiveness of water treatment measures. The last one is partnership and collaboration. Collaborating with local government, nonprofit organizations, and international agencies to leverage resources, expertise, and funding support for the implementation of comprehensive water safety initiative in flood-prone areas. So yan po yung mga solutions dun sa issue. Next.
So for the objectives, the project objectives is the Safe H2O project aims to safeguard flood-prone communities from waterborne diseases, thereby ensuring the health and safety of vulnerable population. The first is the first objective are assessment and monitoring, which is the project aims to assess water quality in the flood-prone areas to identify potential pollution sources and track changes over time by regularly checking samples for contaminants and pathogens. The next is education awareness. The goal is to educate the local population on safe water practices, hygiene, sanitation, and water treatment techniques to prevent waterborne illness during floods. Infrastructure improvement. The project aims to improve water infrastructure in flood-prone communities by constructing or maintaining distribution networks, well and water treatment facilities for clean and safe water access. The fourth is emergency response planning. Emergency response planning strategies for waterborne diseases outbreaks involve developing procedure for quick identification, containment, and medical management of water-related infection. Lastly, the health assessment. The project aims to produce water quality, including safe alternative sources of water, making sure it cannot cause any waterborne diseases that can lead to epidemics like malaria. By addressing this objective, it can aim to decrease waterborne diseases in flood-prone communities and improve their resilience to future flooding events.
So for our first activity, let us see the next slide. So we will have a health education awareness for waterborne diseases. So the purpose of this health education is to raise awareness in the community regarding waterborne diseases, their causative factors, treatment, and prevention. So this aims to have the community apply the lessons given to them in their situation and manage waterborne diseases. So we will have a 30-minute session for this activity, and this includes definition of waterborne diseases, their causes, and possible treatments and management. Next slide. So for this activity, we will need a PowerPoint presentation, screen and projector, audio, and also a venue, which is hopefully the barangay gymnasium. So we will have to ask for their cooperation. Next slide.
For the next slide, for procedures, we plan to have developed brochure, a poster, pamphlets containing information about waterborne diseases and prevention strategies, so that we can have it, we can give it to them as their guide also. They can have it as a guide to know what we are talking about or what are we discussing about to them. And then conduct demonstrations on water purification techniques such as boiling, filtering, and chlorination. So for this one, as we provide them health education and how they can um purify their water, like the techniques of it. So this is the step, which is the boiling, filtering, and chlorination. Next, collaborate with local leaders, community organization, and health professionals to organize outreach program, For this one, of course, we would need to, or we want to use the gymnasium so that we can have a much more bigger listener, or like people that that we can educate with this procedure. So we would need to have their leaders such as barangay captains, um and then their healthcare workers, like the healthcare workers under local healthcare unit, or like health centers, so that we can organize this outreach programs and event or activity. Last is utilize social media platform to disseminate educational content, raise awareness about waterborne diseases. So since nowadays we tend to have, or like we are generally using social media every day, or every on our daily lives, so it is also an effective way to raise awareness and provide them details on how they can avoid, or like, yeah, avoid waterborne diseases, or how they would handle, or um how they would live, I mean, not to be able to have this kind of diseases. So next po. For this one, assessment of criteria, distribute these materials in local communities, schools, and healthcare facilities. Show practical ways to store and handle water safely to prevent contamination. Highlight the importance of proper sanitation and hygiene practices in preventing waterborne illnesses. So, just like what I said, the pamphlets and the materials would be given to them. We would also show them how they can do proper boiling process of the water, a proper filterization, to prevent contamination. And of course, we would um, educate them the importance of this proper sanitation, with their hygiene practices also, in preventing waterborne illnesses. So that would be all for healthcare po. Thank you.
Next, we have the water quality testing and improvement. Particularly in this activity, we thought of installing a water filtration system in response to the issue about safety of water in a community. So, water filtration systems are instrumental in enhancing water quality by removing impurities and contaminants. These systems employ physical, chemical, or biological processes to purify water, making it safe for consumption and other domestic uses. Next, we have the materials needed in order to construct a water filtration system. We need a tap water, feed tank, feed pump, inlet, pressure gauge and pressure gauge, sand filter, carbon filter, water softener, PPC filter, pressure switch, RO pump, membrane filter, flow meter, and storage tank. Then the procedure. So, nandito yung step-by-step process sa pag-install ng water filtration system sa isang community. So, dito, syempre, first step dito is to identify the location ng ating mga magiging water samples. Dito lalabas yung kahalagahan ng isang community map, which is makakatulong sa atin para sa project na to. Specifically in this activity to determine the water sources in a community. So after collecting the samples, this will be transported into the laboratory for the analysis. So different tests will be performed in the water such as physical, chemical, and microbiological tests. And lastly, syempre, after all the process of analyzing those water samples, yung results and findings dito pagkatapos is magagamit natin upang makabuo tayo ng additional plan to address those location of water that is found with impurities. So dito makakapag-decide tayo kung saan bang mga parte ng community yung mga may contaminated water nang sa gayon is doon natin ma-install yung water filtration system.
For assessment criteria, first bullet is effectiveness of filtration system. Second is compliance with regulatory standards. Third is community impact. And fourth is stakeholder satisfaction. Second slide, please. Activity 3.
Okay, so for activity 3, we have sanitation infrastructure development, hand washing stations, and proper waste management systems. So yung primary goal ng project na to ay to improve yung sanitation services and provide infrastructure that will support and sustain economic growth. It is in line with the government's pledge to achieve by 2030 the Sustainable Development Goals number 6, which is ensuring universal access to sanitation. SDG goal number 3, improving health and well-being for all. And number 11, creating inclusive, safe, and sustainable cities and human settlements. Infrastructure improvements related to sanitation can reduce the negative effects of waterborne diseases and stop them from spreading. Many deaths globally are caused by these diseases, particularly in impoverished and in children. So may I call the next reporter to further discuss the hand washing station, the materials needed, the hand washing techniques, and the assessment criteria.
Next is hand washing stations. Hand washing station is one of the most important things to do to reduce the risk of contaminating materials that can be transmitted to fresh produce. Wash hands with soap and water before and after eating, using the toilet, smoking, touching the face, coughing, sneezing, harvesting animals after handling menu, and at the times you have reasons to think that your hands might have become contaminated. Hand sanitizers should only be used in addition to proper hand washing, not in place of it. Using hand sanitizers are not effective when your hands are dirty and is not intended to replace proper hand washing. Next slide, please. These are the materials needed. First, clean coolers or jugs with free flow spigot that can be turned on and off. Portable clean water with constant flow for two-handed washing. Catch basin or dishpan to catch the water used to wash hands. Liquid soaps or bar hand soaps does not have to be antibacterial. Paper towels that can be used to dry your hands. Trash can or covered trash container to collect used paper towels. And a table where you can place water container, liquid soaps, and paper towels. Next slide, please. Proper hand washing techniques. Wet hands with water. It does not have to be hot. Apply soap and scrub for 20 seconds, or you can sing the happy birthday song twice to make sure you can scrub along enough. Clean under your fingernails and between your fingers. 3. Make sure to wash your thumbs, wrists, and top of hands. 4. Rinse your hands, letting water drip down, not up and over your hands. 5. Dry hands with a clean, unused paper towel or cloth towel. Do not reuse the hand towel. And last, throw towels in a properly covered receptacle. Next slide, please. These are the assessment criteria. Implementing seven strategic approaches in healthcare organizations can significantly enhance hand hygiene compliance, combating infection transmission, and fostering a culture of safety and care. 1. Implement comprehensive education and training program. 2. Ensure easy access to hand hygiene products. 3. Use visual reminders. 4. Establish monitoring and provide constructive feedback. 5. Promote a culture of safety. 6. Demonstrate commitment through role modeling. 7. Develop incentive program and offer recognition rewards. Next slide, please. For the
So we have here the proper waste management system. So waste management is the collection and disposal of waste materials such as household waste, commercial waste, hazardous waste, electronic waste, etc. More broadly, it includes any activity involved in the organization of waste management from production to final treatment. Here are the materials needed: covered containers, waste bins or garbage bags, labels, waste signs or stickers to encourage people to categorize their waste and dispose it accordingly. Next slide, please. So the procedures are: identify the waste produced and use the appropriate management system. Evaluate the waste for its physical, chemical, and biological characteristics to determine how it is to be properly managed. Recyclable materials such as paper, soda, and cans. Composable organic waste, non-hazardous solid waste, hazardous radioactive waste, hazardous biological waste, hazardous chemical waste, and otherwise regulate materials such as car batteries, contaminated soil, and construction debris. Once wastes have been identified and evaluated, the community must manage it accordingly to the waste management instructions. These waste management instructions had been developed to keep the compliance with all applicable laws and regulations to promote a safe and healthy environment. Next slide, please. Assessment criteria. First one is waste generation, availability of solid waste bins, availability of produce, reuse, recycle, in source level. Second one is waste collection, availability of waste collection system and equipment. Third is waste transfer and transport, availability of temporary waste disposal station and waste transport equipment such as dump truck, arm roll truck, and trailer truck. The last one is waste disposal, the availability of sanitary landfill or at least controlled landfill.
So for our conclusion, the project activity plan shows the importance of any aspects on how the project will help the community. By planning and discussing our goals, we came up with a project that helps and prevents any sickness and more cleaner location for people in the community. To prevent any sickness and to educate other people on what is important and needs to be done where the safetyness and sanitation should take place. It is important to give what the community needs for their daily lives. It's our job to help them in many ways. By giving them a possible solution, many things can be prevented. Thank you.